Hello, Goat World. Artsncrofts here, bringing you an in-depth interview with the Bones Generation, our Season 6 Goat Format War League champions. If you guys are unaware of what the Goat Format War League is, it is a team-style league tournament where the winning team, the top players, get an invite to the Goat Format World Championship in this fall. So we have a good chunk of the team here today, which is really awesome to see. We're going to start off with just some general introductions. We are going to go look at some of their favorite deck lists that they played during the season, not just in the playoffs, but in the regular season as well. And then just some good old-fashioned Q&A with the team. So let's go around the horn. If you guys want to introduce yourselves, tell me how long you've been playing GOAT format for, and what decks you play and kind of what you're known for. Let's start with Gado.
Okay, hi everyone. I'm Godot from the Team Bone Generation this season. I've been with this team for a long time. At this point, is my fifth season because I skipped the last one. And yeah, basically I've been them since the very first season of World League, and it's a great team to be a part of because it's a very chill ambient, but you can also test with some good players. My best strategy today is playing the warrior deck. Probably is my favorite deck, and the deck I have made some tops in the past.
Awesome.
And I tried to play this deck through the season, even though I started with the Chaos Turbo strategy. But I shifted with the Warrior in the last weeks and in the playoffs too.
Nice. Thank you very much. And yeah, I think the deck that I got sent from you is a warrior list, so we'll be excited to get your
Yeah.
thoughts on that later on. All right, Rete, you're up next.
Hello everyone, I'm Rete. I'm playing God Formal since 2021. I'm playing with Bones since 3 seasons. I play my first season with Damage Step. It's hilarious. And my second season with my team totally crazy. That's on Foots. And my favorite deck is Turbo, absolutely. For me, God Pharmacy absolutely a mono meta with Turbo, and this is my list. And this season, I was the worst player because I do 3-5, and my strategy is try to sack my opponent. Only this.
That's a tried and true strategy for all Yu-Gi-Oh duelists.
I'm trying to sack you, and it's just this.
Thank you. All right,
And
next up we got Pike Freak.
Nice. I'm Bike Freak from Switzerland. I play goats, I think, since like 2023. I mean, I played it before, but not really seriously, just a little bit on the ladder. And then since 2023, I got the chance to play with Bones in the War League. Played the first season there with Bones. I think it was season 5, no, 4. And then I skipped season 5, and now, yeah, season 6 again with Bones. Really glad to be a part of the team. As Godot said, it's a really chill ambience, but really also competitive player base, so that makes it fun. And yeah, hope to do a lot of more seasons with the team.
And you are well known as the team's ritual chaos expert, right? And we'll take a look at that deck later on for sure. Up next, we got Pot the Master.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Podnemaster. I'm from Turin, Italy, and I play GOT since 2004. Like I lived the real GOT era, and then I continue to play GOT with my friend also through the year, and I play with Bones from 3 years. Like when Shifty called me after I do the top 8 at Worlds, and I joined the team, and I never will change the team because it's fantastic. It's very good ambient. I like to play Chaos Turbo, but I can play also other deck. I bring Turbo basically all the season, because it's the deck that I feel better with, and the result was good.
Yeah, makes total
Yeah.
sense. So you are a true format veteran then, right? What do you think is
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
the biggest change from the old days back in 2004, 2005 compared to now?
The change is incredible. Like we discovered in the new era the Thunder Dragons that in the old era doesn't work. Neither play Thunder Dragons and made access to play the Chaos base monster, and the decks change completely. They become more faster, more stable, and there are a lot of change now. There is some meta in the meta. In this moment, Warrior is a great deck. In some moment, there are control that brings more value, and the Warrior comes less efficient. But Turbo stays always the deck at the top.
Yeah, it definitely feels like the meta is definitely cyclical at times, but it's really hard to dethrone Turbo over the long term for sure. Up next, we got Shavies. How we doing?
Hey, how's it going? Chavies. I've been a part of Bones since season 2. Just really enjoy playing with these guys. It's a great atmosphere, fun to be around. I usually play Chaos Control and Warriors, and just really enjoy both those strategies. And yeah, that's about it.
Awesome, great to have you here. Shifty, what is up?
What's up, guys? I'm Shifty. I'm the original founder of Team Bones. Just want to say, obviously, well, just to give a brief overview. When I first started Bones, I put a lot of work into it, tried to recruit the right players with the right attitude, and I think I've done a good job with that. And also now it's got to the stage where, obviously, with my family life and I'm just having a child and stuff, I've kind of had to take a back seat. But everyone else has stepped up. Like there's a lot of people where it's self-sufficient. So I just want to thank everyone on the team for obviously stepping up for that. With my decks, I play. Well, my favorite deck is Chaos Control. I love that deck, and I think it's the best deck because it's not the best deck, but it's the one that's most enjoyable because it's got so many webs of thinking that you need to do, and it's the highest skill needed to use it. But I can play pretty much any deck besides I'd say Warrior to the highest level, but any of the deck I'm comfortable with, Earth, Fairy, or Chaos Turbo.
Really awesome, yeah. Always, I'm sure Tiso will say it's probably a great weapon to have someone able to play so many decks at such a high level. Shifty, how does it feel, even though you've been able to like step back, that the team is in such good hands that they've been able to win the championship this year? That's got to feel pretty good, right?
Yeah, honestly, it feels amazing because it just shows that the amount of work I put in at the start, the hard work, and it finally paid off. And we've been trying for 6 seasons now. We got close a couple of times. Either it was Bones 1 or Bones 2. Both sides, we got very close. This time, we got the job done, so it feels awesome.
Tiso, the captain, the man himself. How are we doing today?
Hi everyone, I'm Tiso. I'm a player from Italy. I joined the team in season 3, I believe, and since then I've always been the main guy that was working on the preparation, the scouting side, a lot of the work behind the scenes. And since last season and this season too, I also was given the honor of being the captain of the team. And I've been playing Goats pretty much since the end of the pandemic or something like that. I started with my IRL friends pretty casually. And then I started taking the game more seriously and eventually started playing online too. I'm pretty much known mostly for Warrior. I'm a pretty good warrior player. I also enjoy other kind of aggro decks. I sometimes play Earth aggro and stuff like that. But mostly aggressive strategies. I don't like too much stuff with flips because they're too slow.
We like normal summoning.
Yeah. Or special summoning, maybe.
Yeah, I can't beat that either, right? As long as it's in attack position, that's all that matters, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Thank you. Next up here, the sauce.
So I've been playing like Yu-Gi-Oh on and off for a very long time. I want to say since that Fire and Water starter deck came out.
Nice.
I don't know if you guys remember that or not. That's about when I started. And then I remember I just was in and out of formats. I think the last format that I played was the Dino Rabbit format, and that was about the last like format that I played like seriously. And then I fell off, for a long time. And then around COVID, I think like most people, we got bored and we're looking for things to do. And I saw that they were doing like money match tournaments like on Facebook, and I was like, yeah, I got some money to throw away. Let's play in some money match tournaments on Facebook. And I don't know how much money I lost starting out, but it was a decent amount. But I got really good really fast because I was like, at the time, I didn't know I was playing against like the best players in the world, right? I thought I was just playing these random guys on Facebook, and like people that I was playing at the time were like LeBounty, Ghost Rider,
Oh man.
John Wick, right? And I thought they were just like random guys like me playing for money. I was like, but come to find out that they've been playing for a long time. They're very good at it, and it got me very good very fast. Because when you're playing for money, it kind of changes your aspect on how you learn and how you play. And so I got hooked, just playing in those tournaments. And then I found out that there was the online Discord, and then I was like, man, I've been hustled for so many years. I had no idea.
Oh man, that's so funny. Yeah, talk about baptism by fire, right? And what is it that drew you to GOAT format specifically when you were kind of returning to Yu-Gi-Oh after your hiatus?
So one of the reasons I stopped playing was just because it started getting like really heavy into like pendulums and link decks, and I just felt like the game like wasn't like as fun, like really long turns and
Totally.
And then that's kind of why I stopped playing. And then my brother, actually, I have a twin brother. He's the one that kind of told me about it, and then we were just bored, and we ended up buying like cards like in real life and playing in these tournaments online. And then now he left playing Go format. He plays Magic mainly now. He's a Magic player. But I just kind of stuck with it and stayed playing it, and I still play it, once a week or so.
Nice. Yeah, and how long have you been in War League and or on this team specifically?
I've been in War League with the same team actually since it started.
Nice.
So yeah, I've been part of the Bones organization since day one, and never left.
Awesome. And how does it feel to get your guys' first ever championship here in season 6?
Honestly, it feels long deserved because I feel like we had the capabilities to do it every year. I think a big aspect, and I will give this to Godot and Tiso and HNVB. They're very, very good planners, which I feel like our team was missing. At least my portion of the team was missing, because we all like to play, but not a lot of us like to plan, right?
Totally.
And I think that set it apart this year, specifically, was their planning for us, and it just allowed us to just play the game,
Sweet. Yeah, it makes total sense. And throughout the season, what kind of decks do you generally like to slam?
Honestly, I'm a whore when it comes to deck lists. I like to play all decks, right? But
Nice.
typically my captain always makes me play the same deck, which is Turbo.
Nice.
So,
nice.
but if it was up to me, I'd be playing all kinds of decks.
I mean, I let you play one time Chaos Control, and then you complain that you hate
I
the
won.
deck. So-
I won with that deck.
Oh, man. I believe this is Shifty's deck to start here. This looks like your week 3 regular season list. My first question to you is Chaos Control a deck that you feel comfortable like maining, like you can just bring it blind into every tournament? Or is it more of like just like a meta call in specific circumstances?
Yeah, I think the deck. Yeah, I'm comfortable. I think I can beat any turbo player with this deck. It's I, it is the problem with it. Sometimes it can be a bit slow with this if you're not putting pressure on. So obviously with this deck list specifically, it's got two swaps, so you can get the momentum from their flip monsters. So I've got the ratio is three scapegoats, two swaps with two metas. So I think that's the perfect ratio. And I think this deck's really good. But in general, Turbo is obviously the stronger deck across the board.
Yeah, makes sense. And one thing I noticed when skimming through this deck earlier, you are on triple Jar of Greed here. Is that something that you played every week? Is that something that you've been tinkering with? What's kind of the hypothesis behind triple Jar and what's generally kind of a slower deck?
Yeah, obviously, because it's a slower deck, you want to find your pieces quicker. So it's okay to stall out a couple turns behind your goats and try to find the combo pieces. And once you can set up a Thousand Eyes Restrict or BLS behind the Solemns, then you can probably win the game from there on.
Sweet, yeah, makes total sense. And what's the logic between single Berserk Gorilla, single Zombira instead of two of both? Do those kind of come in different circumstances?
Yeah, definitely. I think Berserk Gorillas, obviously, you've got the 2000 beat stick and you need to answer it. With Zombara, the warrior player can play around it and just wait. With the Chaos Control, because the deck is quite slow, you kind of need to apply that pressure with the Berserk Gorilla. So it gives that good balance. It's also got some niche uses in other matchups like Burn, for example. So you can just summon it, and then if they try to Ajama lock you can switch it to defense to open up a slot. So it's got some decent uses.
Yeah, that's pretty nifty, especially in a matchup where you need to be a little bit more aggressive. Cool. Well, thank you, Shifty. Let's move on. The next deck I got here, this is Raytes, a classic Chaos Turbo list. As we can see here, we are a Wind Blast gamer. Is that normally the case, or do you kind of bring in the RBs in certain weeks?
In my opinion, Phoenix is much better than Rage Break because you can use Phoenix whenever you want. For example, if I start first, I'm set, I don't know, Moth because it's only one normal. I can do Phoenix on your set and I gain a turn like a time walk if you play Magic.
Yep.
I can do that this with Rage Break. If I play against Turbo, I can top decking Chaos, and if I don't have like Darkness in the Graveyard, he draw a, he will draw a brick. If I play against Warrior, I can top decking a Kaiku. I'm summon Sorkei, and he draw a Kaiku when he's useless. And this is the logic for me. Only defeat for Phoenix Queen Blast is Snatch, but
Yeah,
it's not the problem.
yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, and especially when you're main decking MST and stuff, you can kind of hedge that bet a little bit there. One other thing that really jumped out to me in this list is you're playing a crazy number of battle traps here, right? Not only do you have Mirror Force in the main, you've got triple Saku in the side, as well as double Widespread Ruin. Was this just like a hardcore tweaking for expecting Warrior, or what was the logic there?
I like this against Barn. I'm trying to put to Beard win a stone. Is good against Warrior. Is good against Kato TK. Is good against the Reasoning, etc. And if you see, I play only 2 Solemn and only 2 Zumbira when usually I play 3 Zumbira every Solemn because I like to play Solemn against Turbo if Turbo play free dash shoot because I wanna draw Solemn. I wanna set all my hand, and when he draw dash shoot, I don't have hand. He basically draw a blank card, and I like Zumbira because against Warrior I can summon Zumbira and pass, and you don't have out. Of course, you have a ring, you have a virus, but ring is virus, kind of everything. I can play around this.
Yeah, no, makes total sense. Yeah, and yeah, if it jogs your memory at all, your week 6 opponent was Carbonara.
I remember against Carbonara, we were siding a bit for Barn and KTK because there's a player there who's called Endend, and Pot, the master, is a friend of him, and he warned us against his Barn, so we decided to prep the side a little bit for that.
Markor and Andend. There are the two players that can bring some RGT or Barn list.
Last thing, I play to walk. I know Nicey say walk is useless against Barn, but I don't agree with him because, in my opinion, if your opponent know you don't play walk, he play for do you 8,000 down damage, and if you play walk, you can stall too much. You can tribute BLS, you can tribute Ojama, you can do loop, and he need to attack you. And when he attack you, you can do Saku and Rin. Basically, I don't approve when people say walk is useless against Barn because Barn brick for yourself because it's no reality.
Yeah, I think I would tend to agree with you. I think walk is at least one copy is pretty nice against burn. Two maybe is sometimes unnecessary, but
No, because okay, one copy, but if you play only one copy, you don't know if you will draw that. You need to draw one walk. Of course, you don't need draw two walks, but you need to draw at least one walk. And if you play only one walk, I'm basically brick every game. I'm sucking every game. My game not don't make sense. I need to see walk.
yeah, you need
For
to
this
you need
reason,
to
I
draw
play
your you need to make sure you draw your power cards when you're just trying to sack everyone.
Yeah.
Makes total sense to me. Awesome. Well, thank you, Reddy. Really cool list. Yeah, and we'll go into this later on in the interview, but yeah, definitely cool to see how you guys are prepping, especially your side deck specifically for the expected matchups in that given week. Next up here, this is Shabs. The Xing main deck is pretty cool. We can get your thoughts on that as well. The other thing I wanted to get your thoughts on here, Minecon main deck without Gravekeeper Spy. What are your thoughts there? Is it a little bit inconsistent? Do you think it's just too good of a card to not play against Chaos Turbo? Where do you fall there?
I think it's just a good card versus Turbo. Even without the Spies in the main, it's got more utility than just taking a flip monster to flip it up. We can take their Chaos and remove that threat, which is really nice. Potentially even just open up their field for a direct attack with Don or Kaiku or something like that to deal some damage.
Yeah.
So I think Turbo is pretty good.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Warrior's definitely one of those decks that just gets so much value out of when it can connect with an attack at any point. So using Minecon as like an econ and an enemy controller's, pretty good way to get value a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So, is the Xing main deck just a Chaos Turbo pre-side, or are you trying to snipe other people off guard with that ever?
I think it kind of goes for any deck that likes to set lots of back row, especially game one. They might not be expecting it, so they might set 2 or 3 back there if it's Warriors, if it's Turbo, if it's something like that. And if you get that off, you can shut down 2 of their traps for a period of time, which is nice. But then game 2 and 3, they might often play around it, so it's probably not good after they see it at least once. But I think it's nice to get that surprise factor in first.
Yeah, that makes sense, and especially I feel like everyone expects Xing to come in post side, right? So if you're playing it pre side and then take it out, you're kind of flipping the script on them, right? And I feel like Warrior gets a lot of value out of these like weird mind games that you play with the Turbo players and always keeping them on their toes. So I like this kind of evolution of that a lot. What are your thoughts on the Berserk Gorillas? Were they doing a good job? Would you prefer them to be a Zumbira, or what's the thought there?
I think most of the time I've gone with Zombiras in the side, but for this week's especially, we're playing, I think it was Nemesis, and had scouted their games in the past. They'd played Warriors and they seemed to side in the Cypher Soldiers. And so I thought it'd be nice to have the Gorillas in there that can attack into a set Cypher Soldier and not get dealt the 2,000 or plus damage. So that's why I went with Gorillas this week. But not every week would I go them. I think they're nice, but I think Labara is still probably the better card overall.
Cool, yeah, makes sense. And, good to be versatile, good to be flexible, depending on what you think the opponent will be playing. Thank you very much. Next up here,
Nice.
we've got Godot's list. Looks like another classic sort of warrior strategy here. The one thing that jumped out to me, and this was a recurring theme, I don't know, Tiso, if you had anything to say about this, but you guys really don't like jogs in your Jar of Greeds in your warrior list, right? We're just maxing out on the Dust Tornado copies, playing the Sakuretsu Armors main. Is this something that you guys just kind of prefer, or was it just everyone making this choice independently?
In my opinion, it depends on which decks we expect to play in the week, because this list was made against Nemesis for the first round in playoffs, and they played pretty much every deck because they had some Reasoning player, Barn player, Chaos, Aggro players. So this list is probably as much flexible it can be warrior, in my opinion. So that's why I wanted to play the triple Dust Tornado main deck. Because if I have to face the mirror match or Barn, I can maybe win game one easier. When if we expect maybe a field full of Chaos Turbo, probably Jar of Greed is better. Because game one they run basically all chainable cards. And with the Jar of Greeds, we can see our power cards before, like the Nobleman of Crossout and so on. Another thing is sometimes I do play Magician of Fate in main deck. I like to do this when I expect they will not main deck the Minecon. Because if you get Nobleman on the Magician of Fate, it's not a big deal usually, because they will lose their copies.
You almost prefer that, right? Because then they lose their faiths, which are a little bit better.
Yeah, sometimes it's a decent trade, but if you get the single Minecon from the pre-side for Chaos Turbo on your Magician of Fate, that would be a very thought spot to be in.
Yeah.
So since we didn't expect many turbo for that week, I still like to main deck the single Magician of Fate.
Sweet, yeah, makes total sense. Yeah, and I see you have the spies in the side there as well. Is that something that's kind of a fixture of yours? Do you bring those just in against turbo, or is that a little bit more flexible?
Spy can have some different roles in my side strategy. Specifically, I use Spy in the mirror match because I like to play Mobius in the mirror match. So having Spy as a body to tribute is very strong against warrior, because you don't want to lose your beater. And with Spy, you have an extra body to sack basically. Also, I've been playing Spy against the Chaos Control and God Control strategy too, because even though I run Wangu, the extra Spy can sometimes be very strong against the Unresolved Scapegoat field. Since you flip Spy, you summon another Spy from your deck in attack position. Maybe the same turn you normal another monster, and you have 3 attacks on 3 tokens. And basically you resolve the Scapegoat in this way.
Yeah, because a lot of the time, Warrior is a deck that generally doesn't like going wide too much, right? It makes your Blade Knights a little bit worse when you have multiple monsters on the field, and just in Goat format in general, you don't want to be playing into Mirror Force and Torrential if you can help it. So oftentimes Warrior can struggle against a resolve Scapegoat, like you're saying. So I like the idea of just like having an easy way to flood the board with monsters if you need to clear those out really quickly.
Yeah, also specifically for this week, probably I play Wangu because we expected Barn, the Panda Barn version, so can destroy the tokens. I'm playing the double threatening roar inside.
Yeah, definitely. Nemesis had lots of spice players on there, so definitely throwing everything in the kitchen sink at them here for sure.
Yeah, also a fun fact for the chat. During this season, I lost twice against reasoning, so I wanted the extra protection inside, so that's why I
Nice.
played double.
Yeah.
I didn't
Adjusting
want to lose
throughout
the third time.
It makes sense. No one beats Gutta 3 times with reasoning gate, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Love it.
Yep.
All right, thank you very much. Next up here, the sauce. I guess
Mhm.
unsurprisingly, it is a Chaos Turbo list. Tiso would have it no other way, I guess. But yeah, so some interesting points here that I wanted to get your thoughts on. So 1 NA, thoughts there? It looks like you kind of replaced it with a Kaiku. What's the logic behind
Yeah.
the same?
So this list specifically was for finals, and I was expecting a high percentage of people to play turbo. So I kind of hedged for that with the 1 NA, no card D, main deck Kaiku. And then just in case we ran into burn, I wanted to have the main deck MST, the book, to reoccur Faith to get back, heavy MST. And then it's also actually not a bad card. It's just as long as you don't draw it too early, it's typically a pretty good card. Alvarado showed us that in Worlds. Book of Moon, good card.
Yeah, totally. Famously playing double Book of Moon, triple Magician of Faith, just to flip your Magician of Faith 1,000,000 times. And so
Right.
how's the Kaiku main served you here?
Honestly, that week I lost my first round. I think it's a solid deck. I didn't draw very good. But I think the deck is still solid. It just that week that I played it didn't perform very well. But I played this specific deck actually on the GOAT rated ladder and done well with it. So it's a strong build. It hedges for like a lot of the matchups with like the meta package, the Sakus. That hedge is really good for warriors, and then you have a lot of hate for burn, like with the double dust, the walk, the third break, and then you have your chaos turbo stuff with the mind control and then the kaikus, and then the Mobius also comes in for burn.
Right, that makes total sense. And I guess Mobius here, not really a staple in turbo sides nowadays, but do you feel more confident in it when you're running a 21 monster list, especially with like triple spy, triple Dekoichi?
Yeah. It's really strong versus like the burns that we've been seeing with like 7 tools and nightmare wheels, just because it can kind of get rid of cards. Unlike like Dust Tornado's good, right? But if they get 7 tools, then it's not really that good.
Right.
So it's a little bit more situational for like the burn decks that we're seeing.
Yeah, that makes sense. So now the elephant in the room with this list, by the way, love to get your thoughts on this. No trap dust shoot anywhere in the 55 in War League of all scenes.
So I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for this, but I personally am not a fan of the card trap dust shoot. It's good. It's good when you open it, but when you draw it and you're either behind or your opponent doesn't have enough cards in their hand, they're kind of just sitting on it and they're getting ahead while you're playing from behind. So I personally, from a playing standpoint, like to get ahead early, because then it doesn't really matter if you get dust shooted, right? Because you're up in card advantage. That's the way that I look at like the mirror. But I know that's like a very small view as far as like the majority of players, they think trap dust shoot's the best card. Like Ike Angelo probably hates me for saying that because it's his favorite card. But I personally don't. I don't like it.
Is that true, Ray? Too?
I don't want to talk about it.
Oh man,
I hate you in
Like
this moment.
in our for context, in our server for the longest time, Rete's nickname was Dashut MVP.
love that.
And
Love
the
that.
Dashut is best card.
So we've got two differing points of view in the same team. Love to see that.
Totally different.
Yeah, I guess so. Your logic is more like, let's just play really high floor cards. Let's play super consistently and try to outplay your opponents down the stretch. Is that kind of your general philosophy?
Right. Yeah, because if you're gonna get sacked, you're gonna get sacked. I don't think trap dust is gonna save you from that.
Right. Sounds good. And then last thing here I had in my notes, Goat's meta side instead of like the normal like Solemn Judgment. I mean, I feel like people are kind of moving away from the Solemn Judgment stuff against Warrior specifically,
So
but what are your general thoughts on the Goat's meta kind of smokescreen?
I personally am not a fan of Solemn Judgment in the Chaos Turbo deck. I've tried it many times, and I just feel like the deck doesn't have enough defense aside from spies to sacrifice life points. It's okay in the mirror match, but the thing is, if you're Solemn Judgment cards too early, it almost makes them kill you faster. You know.
Yeah.
So I think Solemn Judgment is a great card in Chaos Control and like Warriors, not so much in Turbo.
Awesome. All right, next list we've got Pot the Master, another Chaos Turbo special here. Also on the single Night Assailant, we'd love to get your thoughts on that specifically. Looks like you're also choosing to run the Kaiku instead of the Night Assailant. I also see you maining that Book of Moon. Instead of no MST in the main, but I guess that's sometimes a choice people make. But yeah, what are your thoughts on the single Night Assailant play?
Yeah, is the same like Soz said before. This is the week we play against Bomb Squad, and we expected a lot of mirror match Chaos Turbo. I normally play two Night Assailant and Card Destruction, no Book of Moon of main. But this week I like to go all in for mirror match. Put mind control in main, Kaiku in main, book and no card distraction. And it was a right choice because having one Kaiku in main and side in the second was great. Both for the attack, both for the mind control. I set many times Kaiku and take mind control of the opponent, and it was good, very good list, solid against mirror match.
Nice. Yeah, Warrior's not the only list that can move monsters out of the way with mind control to get in some direct hits, so cool to see that here.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the Goats meta side?
Got meta side package. I always use against Warrior or aggro deck. I feel more strong against them. I play always to Saku, to Scapegoat, to Meta, and one or two Zombira, but there is always got meta package in my side.
Nice. And what do you prefer about that compared to like Solemn Judgments, like a lot of other people bring in?
Yeah, Solemn Judgment. I don't like too much Solemn Judgment inside deck. I prefer to play double copies in main, in other type of list, maybe without mind, without book, but I don't like too much put inside deck.
Cool. Sounds good. All right. Thank you very much. Next list we have up here, Tiso.
This is my list from the finals.
Awesome.
And the main deck are basically 40 cards that I use very, very often, both in World League and in tournament, especially against teams that have that play mostly Turbo and Warrior. I think it's my best 40 cards against those two decks. And we were expecting a lot of Turbo, plus the Step also has a couple of good Warrior players in Ludi Pableone and Rixa. And I don't play Jogs, as you were saying earlier, because personally I'm not a big fan of Jogs, and I'm a very big fan of Dust Tornado. I'm probably the number one Dust Tornado believer, because my kind of philosophy in building Warrior is that, in my opinion, it's a deck that needs to gain an advantage very early in the game and never leave it, because it's a deck that is very bad at playing from behind. So I try to edge my lists to do that. And Dust Tornado really helps because it sets up ways to resolve your attacks, which is the main way that the deck gains an advantage. And the side deck is very not is not what I usually play. The reason is that I was very worried about Gulad's Barn, mainly because it's a weird list that I didn't have a chance to play against. And in regular season, I actually got so worried about it that I decided to bring Earth Aggro instead of Warrior. It's the only week that I didn't play Warrior this season. But I ended up playing against Turbo and I got destroyed. It was
Can't win 'em
one
all.
of my 2 losses during regular season, if I remember correctly. And so this time I decided that I was going to play Warrior, and I was trying to figure out how to approach the matchup against the Dream Barn, and I was talking to Moxis actually. So big shout out to him because he's the one that told me that in his opinion, all you need to do in that matchup is just resolve a Mobius with walk. Because if you walk the Mobius in chain to Mobius effect, you can go around the skill drain. And
Oh,
so that's a very powerful play to kind of break down Dream Barn's defenses. So
that
I'm
is
usually
true.
not a big fan of Walking Warrior. I think that Madness Archer is a better card. But as you can see, I'm playing with 2 Mobius. I like Mobius a lot in the mirror. Also, I'm playing double smashing because it helps breaking the Toon Goblin Attack Force. I'm playing a Goblin Attack Force myself over the usual Zombaira because that can trade. So it's a side deck that is very specifically built to beat the Drain Barn, and the rest of the cards are mainly there to give me many different options against Turbo because I like to have different plans depending on what side I expect them to bring.
Cool. Yeah, that makes total sense. So yeah, basically the Goblin Attack Force is the best monster in the game with skill drain on the field, pretty much. So is that the idea of why that's
Yeah,
advanced?
like I can use the skill drain against the drain player, but also being a 2300 attack, I can crash it against another Goblin Attack Force, which will allow my other monster to get some damage in, and in the end, Warrior versus any kind of Barn is a damage race, so being able to break their stall is the #1 priority in the match.
Yeah, that makes total sense. What do you bring the Chaos Sorcerer in for? That's a little bit of a spicy card to see in a warrior side deck.
Yeah, Chaos Sorcerer is a card that I started playing maybe a year ago. I don't remember exactly. And I've been liking it a lot because it's a very versatile card that you can basically bring in against anything you don't really have side for. But I especially like it against Control because it's an answer to Tear. It's a card that they generally struggle to deal with, and also it can clear a goat token while you're attacking with another monster without exposing yourself to mirror falls.
Mm.
And also the reason I have it in the side, like the #1 reason, is for Turbo who sides Scapegoats. Because in my opinion, bringing in stuff like Azura or Wangu against that isn't that strong because at the end of the day, 36 cards out of 40 are still Turbo, and Wangu and Azura aren't really good against that. And sometimes you want to be able to know before if the Turbo player is actually siding goats. So the Chaos Sorcerer is one of the cards I side in that I think are gonna be at least decent, no matter what my opponent is gonna side, no matter what part of the deck they're gonna draw, and is especially good if they are on the Gods meta stuff.
Cool. Yeah. No, that makes a lot of sense to me. Do you ever run into dark or light count issues? Because warrior generally doesn't try to support multiple chaos monsters, or do you always just like bring in the spies or something to make sure your dark count is high
Yeah,
enough?
most of the time I'm bringing in the Spies and the Magician of Fate with it to kind of give the deck another angle of attack that is not the stuff that the opponents are siding for.
Cool. Yeah, makes total sense. Yeah, and that's how Warrior makes their money in Go format, right? Is staying one step ahead of the opponent's side deck plan. So cool to see you're pretty obviously trying to do that here. Last point I wanted to ask here: double Mystic Swordsman in the main. Is that something that you normally do?
Yeah. Like I was saying, these 40 main deck cards are very much my kind of staple. I have, of course, been changing it depending on the week in War League, but like if I were to play in a tournament, I would probably stick with this 40. I think that at the end of the day, what you have to do with Warrior in a tournament is beat Turbo. And I think these 40 cards are what gives you the best odds.
Yeah.
And the double level 2 is just very, very strong because it can be an answer to Spy, it can be an answer to any flip, and most of the time it will also force some kind of play from the Warrior player. And Warrior is generally good at punishing force plays. And the best case scenario is when you get an attack in, destroy a flip, negating its effect, and then the turbo player might be forced to normal summon a flip to attack the level 2 with, and you've basically negated 2 flips with only 1 card, which is very, very good.
Totally, yeah. See that all the time, and it always looks so awkward from the turbo player's perspective when you have a hard to answer Mystic Swordsman, staring
And
down at you.
also by playing 2, like sometime the turbo player might destroy the first one and then kind of get a little bit lazy with these sets because the level 2 is already out.
Exactly.
So if they have been keeping their spy, maybe they think that's the moment they can set it, and the second level 2 then comes out and punish that.
Yeah, I was actually just about to ask you that because I feel like it's so common for like a turn one warrior to just go reinforcement of the army for Mystic Swordsman. It might kill a flip or something and then die to a normal summon monster or something, right? And then if you're the turbo player, you feel like, okay, I've dealt with the Mystic Swordsman, it's gone, unless there's like Call of the Haunted or something in the mix. But when you can just go Rhoda for the second copy later on or just hard draw it, I feel like you probably have a really good chance of just catching them off guard. Because it's not a common play
Also
pattern.
like increasing the chances of having it on turn 1 is good. And having 2 copies, you can be a little bit more reckless with it. With only 1 copy, sometimes you might want to keep it in hand if you don't have a battle trap, but by playing 2, I can just slam it on the board and don't really have to worry about what's gonna happen to it.
Yeah. Hey, sounds pretty good to me. And clearly got you guys quite far this season. Thank you so much for giving us the rundown there. Last but certainly not least, we've got some spice here for everyone. This is Pike Freak's Ritual Chaos list. This is what you ran in the finals, but I'm pretty sure you run a pretty similar list every other week of War League. Did you make any specific tweaks to this for the finals?
Similar to Tisto, the main 40 are almost always the same. Sometimes like 1 or 2 cards difference, but I really come to love this main deck. It's just working for me for my playstyle, and I kind of developed it over months basically, and it's just what I like most. It's strong suits and it's out for every kind of place. I also really like the single Kaiku. It was really good in the finals against Insidious with a kind of TT play to banish his Sinister Serpent, and I just really like to have that out in the deck, in the main deck. And for specific changes, I think I added in some more burn hate, like the dust tornadoes in the side. Actually, specifically also for Gulas, and I'm happy that I did because I faced him in the finals. So, yeah, that was a good choice for sure.
Nice. Yeah, love it. So this one, I was getting some prep from the GoFormat.com staff in preparation for this, and Grumple, actually, who I'm sure you guys all know, wanted me to ask you kind of what's your opinion on what are this deck's strengths and weaknesses compared to Chaos Turbo, right? Because it's really only like five or six main deck cards different from a standard Turbo list. So in your words, how does it differ from Turbo, and why would you want to play it over just a standard Turbo list?
Something like from the start, I think Turbo is the best deck of the format. So if you really only want to play the best deck, you probably should play Turbo. But that's not always fun. So sometimes you have to go with what you like to play. And I don't think the deck is a lot worse than Turbo. But it's different in play style, even though the cards are pretty similar. You have less flips, so you are basically less susceptible to Noblemen. You can even play the deck without flips to go around that. I just like a small flip package because it's the similar philosophy that Bounty popularized in Warriors with the one Magician of Faith in the main deck. So, like, if they knock it, you're fine with it because theirs are gone as well. And if you can get through the Spies or the Moth to resolve Trinity or something again, that's just broken in and of itself. Overall, the main, I think, strength or the better part of the deck compared to Turbo is that it's more aggressive. So you can push out your Chaos Monsters way earlier because one Manju is already light and dark in one card. And you can combine it with Card Destruction and Wing Blast. It's also one thing I like more in this deck, the Wing Blast over the Raigeki Break. I think in regular Turbo, Raigeki Break is probably better. But here you want to create tempo really early, kind of similar, as Tiso said, in the Warrior strategy. And that's why I like Wing Blast better, so you can set them back, attack them, and probably already drop a Chaos Monster before they get their Chaos life. And that's actually also kind of why I prefer 2 Dust Shoots in this deck over 3. Because initially I was thinking 3 is better because you want to create the tempo sooner than later. But the problem is, a lot of the time you simplify the game state quite early, and then the third dot shoot comes dead, and if you want to push after the initial advantage you created, you want to be able to push more and not draw into a dead dust shoot. So yeah, that's basically like the main thing. And I also think you have never really the big problem with not having enough light, because in Turbo sometimes if they can get rid of your Thunder Dragon and knock your Magician of Faith, your Chaos are basically dead. And in this deck you have a lot of lights with the Manjus, with the one Faith, and sometimes not enough dark, but normally if you can grab the Relinquished early, you can get rid of it with the Wing Blast or the Card Destruction or Grateful, and then your grave is already set up. So I would say that are the main differences and the main strength over the regular Turbo deck.
How often do you find yourself actually summoning the Relinquish in this list? And do you kind of try to play for it more in specific matchups?
That's actually an interesting question. When I started playing the deck, I almost always thought it's a bad play if you want to summon it because you go neck in card advantage. But by playing it more, I realized that it's actually like a mini chaos monster that you can search over the course of the game. So the first one is basically always discard fodder, and the second one sometimes as well, of course. But if I can, I try to hold on to it as long as I can because I can clear a threat with it. And if I have something else that I can clear the board easier, like a tribe or a BLS or something, then I can get rid of it with some discard outlets. But I actually summon it quite a lot. I would say at least once a match, maybe twice even. Especially against Chaos Turbo, it comes up quite a bit. Against Warriors, game 1 also. Against Control, not so much because, yeah, they have goats and stuff to block your attack, so you can't go that aggro into them. So that's why there they serve more as a discard outlet. But in other matchups, it comes up quite often, aggro also. Yeah, so more than you would think, I would say.
Cool, nice, yeah, thank you. Yeah, do you have you ever experimented with other ritual monsters in that slot? Like I know some people like Dark Master Zork. I've even seen some people play the Masked Beast. Do you think there's merit to those, or would you just always play Relinquished?
I played Zork at first. Then I had a ladder session when I lost like 10 games in a row because I rolled 1-6 after the other.
Oh man.
So ever since then, I switched over to Relinquished and I never looked back. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes it. Yeah, yeah. Relinquish can't just lose you the game on the spot like Zork can, I guess. So that makes sense for sure.
True.
Sweet. All right. Well, yeah. I don't play this deck personally, but I do think it's one of the coolest ones in the format. I think it just kind of approaches the meta from a very unique angle. So really glad that I got to pick your brain today. So thank you for that. All right. So that is all of the deck lists here. So I was gonna swap over just to some general Q&A. So first question here, and we brought this up several times throughout the call. I feel like everyone, when you talk about the Bones generation in War League, they always talk about how good your guys' prep is, right? That is what you guys are known for. What is it that, and Tiso, Shifty, anyone can chime in here. What is it that really sets you guys apart when it comes to the prep? What do you think? How do you think you approach it differently from the rest of the league? And like, what's basically the secret sauce? If you can let us in on any secret intel that you guys might have.
So, as the guy that works mostly on prep, I think I am the one that can talk the most about it. And it's actually a tougher question to answer than it may look, because I know what we do, but I don't know what the other teams do. So it's hard to say what we are doing better than other teams. The most I can do is kind of look at what the deck they choose, or what card they choose, to kind of guess what their prep is. And I think there are some factors that I can think about that probably set us apart from other teams. And one is for sure deck variety, because most strong teams that maybe prep as well as we do actually just stick to their starter players and to their usual decks, maybe pre-turbo to warriors and stuff like that. So let's say there is a team that is mainly warrior players. Another strong team will probably still load turbo against it, but maybe cut the dash shoot, maybe even play some Saku main deck. But we in Bones, facing an aggro team, we are just gonna send in our control players. And that allows us to be more consistent at facing the more spicy teams. And also it kind of makes us harder to prep against, because we have a very deep variety of decks that everyone could bring. We're not afraid to throw curveballs at other teams.
Yeah.
And another thing that I think for somebody might be obvious, but I'm pretty sure not everyone is doing, is that I personally am very thorough with all the scouting I do. I don't just stop at looking at the kind of decks they play. I don't just look and say, oh, they play a lot of turbo, let's bring some warrior. I usually check their tournament list. I check their World League replays to kind of see what cards they are playing in those decks. And like as we were saying before, if their warrior players like Cypher a lot over Spy, we're gonna bring Gorillas instead of Zombaira. If their turbo players like to play Solemn in the main deck or in the side deck, maybe we're gonna play Sing when sometimes we don't. And so it's more detailed that what some other teams might do.
Yeah.
And also, like you were asking before, like if we have some kind of building philosophy that all the team sticks to, we mostly let everyone play the way they like to. Because in my opinion, at this point in God format, we have reached a stage where the deck lists are so optimized that playing what you are comfortable with is more important than playing what is considered optimal. And
Yeah.
also in doing that, we have a bunch of different lists. So somebody is siding Solens in Turbo, somebody is siding Goat Meta, somebody is playing Jogs in Warrior, somebody isn't. And that makes prepping against us harder overall.
Yeah, so it sounds like really it's just you guys put in a ton of effort every week to figure out exactly what needs to be done, right? And I think that clearly paid off this season. So hats off to you guys for that. I want to circle
Yeah.
back on one thing you mentioned during that, where you said that it's important that you guys have a lot of players that can play, or you have a lot of different lists that people can play, right? So you can kind of tweak your roster each week, depending on who you're playing against. Is that something that you look for specifically when you're trying to build a team and scout players? Are you like, oh, we don't have enough warrior players, we don't have anyone who can play burn? Is that something that you're kind of keeping in mind when you're trying to build your roster?
So when building the roster, actually the person that is mostly in charge of who gets in and who doesn't is Shifty. But yeah, that is something that we look somewhat into, but he can answer the question better than I.
Honestly, the number one factor is the player themselves, like how they are as a person. Are they going to be easy to work with? Are they going to be a good team player? That's the number one priority for me. Like when you recruit top players, so to speak, they've got certain demands and expectations. So if they're not playing every week, or you lose 3 weeks in a row, then they're probably just going to leave you, and then you're going to have to try and find someone else, and it's a lot of headache. So I would rather have reliable players and good people as well, who are dependable and want to work for the team. And with the deck side of things, obviously, as long as you've got the turbo decks, the warrior decks, and then having a burn player in there as well can be it's good to have, just to give the opponent something to think about. So that is, I think, is a secondary thought, but the main thing is getting the right personnel. That's that's the number one factor for me.
Yeah, for sure. I can definitely tell just by being on you guys on this call for like the past hour or so that it seems like vibes are definitely number one here, and you guys seem to have really cultivated a really solid team culture. And so yeah, I think it's pretty clear that that had a pretty solid factor in your success this season. And hopefully, helps keep the roster consistent and cohesive season to season as well, which I know as an outside viewer, a lot of teams struggle with turnover year to year, right? So do you think that kind of gives you guys a leg up on the other teams in between season cohesiveness?
We have the most loyal Italians in the league. Just saying.
There you go.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, like we have a pretty much every person that has been in Bones stayed with the team most of the time. When a player is not returning to the team, they are just taking a season off or have just stopped playing. We only have people kind of jumping mid-season when things got rough and they didn't come back. And honestly, we are happy that they didn't. And I think this team, especially winning, is particularly a sign because these 8 players are probably the ones that stuck with the team most of the time through thick and thin. So
Awesome.
I'm really happy that this is the team that made it.
Awesome. Yeah. So, I mean, you guys sound like a great group of friends, so it's really cool to see. Um, so yeah, question I guess for Shifty and also Tiso. What would you have any advice for any new captains looking to build their team in War League for next season or seasons beyond? If you could give them one or two pieces of advice, what would that be?
So if you want, I can answer that question because this season I run as a, a warship, so maybe I knew the rules for this part.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also,
So of
you've
course,
been Bones captain before me, so
oh yeah. So of course, if you want to join the World League Discord, you have to be in the server. That's the first step. And inside that, there's a channel that is dedicated to the new players and captains for finding players or simply asking to the others that you are free to be picked up. No, so once you are in the server, you can just send a message in this channel, or just check the channel if there is already a message for people looking for players. So this is one way, but the best way, in my opinion, is to be proactive and not only send a message in the Discord, but try to reach the captains in the direct messages. So you can ask directly a captain if they have some space and if they want to pick you in.
Awesome. Yeah.
And this is the version for people joining an existing team. But as you said, you can also build your own team, no? But this is sometimes a process a bit difficult, in my opinion, because you have to find like at least 5 people that are willing to join you, and for sure this is possible. But you have either maybe to know some people in real life, maybe some people from your locals that are interested in God format, so you can just gather them and build a team in this way. We have some stories like the Greek teams. They are 2 teams that plays in the local scene in Athens in Greece. And also this season we have another a national team that was the Serbian team. It's and is another story like that. So this is one way. Or also you can basically ask for people online. If you had some results, maybe it's easier now to find some people willing to join you. But even though you are not maybe the best player out there, as long you can show some willingness and some constants, like you have to be active in the Discord, like helping people, or maybe streaming matches, is commenting as you do. Maybe you can find people that wants to play with you. So this is my take.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think for newer players, it's good to just to get started. You got to be in it to win it, right? I mean, everyone starts from somewhere. Like Souls was saying earlier, he started on Facebook and he got bodied, and now obviously he's a fantastic player. That's Shaves as well. He joined the tournament, the free agent tournament, and he won it. So you got to be in it, put your name on the map, and you can improve. And obviously, GOAT format War League is the highest competition you're going to find. So if that's one of your goals, to get better and improve yourself, then it's the best environment to do that. And obviously the bonds and friendship you make along the way is also fantastic. So I'd advise anyone who's probably sitting on the fence just to give it a go, and hopefully you can become a champion like me.
Okay, let's go.
Love that. Love
yeah,
that.
if I can add that onto that, I think if you're a player that would like to start his own team and be a captain, I think if you want to enjoy yourself, and World League can be a lot of fun, in the end, at the end of the day, the reason I play it is because it's fun. You should realize that it's also a big commitment, because World League lasts 3, maybe even 4 months. And unlike other tournaments, you are not supposed to drop out of the tournament. So once you enter, you are committing yourself to playing in the World League for 3 or 4 months. And World League is a very high level competition, so chances are that your first season is not gonna go that well.
You're gonna get bodied. Yeah, you're gonna get bodied.
Yeah.
So
I was trying to sugarcoat it, but yeah, you are probably gonna get bodied, and like in everything, you gotta build the experience, you gotta learn the skills, and so for your first season, try to kind of have the right expectation, come in with the right mindset, and also find the right people that you can vibe with, even if things aren't going extremely well. We had team in the past that kind of came in not very well prepared and kind of lost their will to play toward the mid of the season, and that's not good for them. It's also not good for everyone else, because when a team is kind of just there throwing their matches, it's not fun for anyone.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, it's a kind of a double-edged sword, right? Because it is, as Shifty was saying, probably the most consistently high-level place to play GOAT format in the entire online ecosystem, right? So yeah, you'll probably get bodied when you're first starting out, but there's also no better place to go if you are dedicated and want to improve. You just have to make sure that you're ready to commit to, a 3 or 4 month long season at that given time. But yeah, does anyone else here have any advice for any newer players, even just new to GOAT format in general? Kind of, what would you tell yourself when you were getting into GOAT format and before you realized that you would be a War League Season 6 champion?
Play Chaos Turbo best act.
With or without that shit?
the shooting BP.
I think one of the biggest things, I don't know if anybody's brought it up or not, but watching your not only wins but like your losses and figure out how you could have won that game if there was a way. Try to capitalize on next time you play that you recognize that so you can see it. That's probably like one of the most important things to that, and then sighting, of course, right? Sighting properly. But seeing if you could have won a game, how you could have won it, and then just focus on doing that next time.
Yeah, and I think War League is... Or go ahead, Tisa.
Yeah, you were probably gonna say what I am about to say, but yeah, in War League you have also a lot of chances to do that, because most of the time, if you like play a match and you lose, or maybe even if you win, but you are not sure that you have made the right plays, most of the time, if you go ask in the general chat in War League, a lot of people, even if they aren't on your same team, will help you and analyze your match, because everyone likes to talk about the game, to analyze replays, and you have some of the best players in the world talking in the chat, so you can get some very high value feedback on your replays there.
You took the words right out of my mouth. Thank you. Sweet. All right. So that is all the questions I had for you guys tonight. Wanted to thank you all again for joining. I hope you guys had fun. Congrats again on the War League Championship, of course, and congrats to the 3 of you who qualified for the World Championship. That was Pike Freak, Tiso, and Pot Nice. Right? Congrats to you 3. Yeah. So does anyone have anything they want to say before we call it quits here tonight?
Bones Gen, stand up.
Yeah, thank you for having us, and GG's to everyone who played this season, and we're gonna see you in the next one.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. Had a lot of fun.
Thank you for hosting.
Thank you.
Sweet.
Thank you.
Peace out.